The hospital room is silent, except for the mechanical hum of monitors. Emma's eyes snap open. She sits upright, her small frame trembling, and looks directly at her parents standing beside the bed. Her father reaches for her hand, relief flooding his face. Her mother begins to cry, but Emma pulls away. Her voice is calm, unnaturally steady for a 7-year-old girl who shouldn't remember anything. "You're not my parents," she whispers. "Not in my first life. That woman, her name was Catherine. She died in 1991. She was 34 years old. She was murdered, and no one ever found her body." The room freezes. The doctor's pen stops mid-note. Emma's mother stumbles backward, her hand covering her mouth. Because Catherine Holloway was real. She vanished 32 years ago, and there is no possible way this child could know her name. Before we uncover what Emma knows, and what she remembers from a life that ended before she was born, subscribe to our channel and tell us in the comments what city you're watching from. You'll want to follow this story to the very end. 3 days earlier, the world was normal. Emma Richardson lived in a quiet suburb of Portland, Oregon. She attended Lincoln Elementary. She loved drawing, strawberry ice cream, and her golden retriever, Biscuit. She was an ordinary child in every measurable way. Until the accident. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Emma was riding her bike home from school, her backpack bouncing against her shoulders. Witnesses said she stopped at the intersection, looked both ways, and then suddenly froze. She stood motionless in the middle of the crosswalk, staring at something no one else could see. A car horn blared. Brakes screamed. The impact sent her small body tumbling across the asphalt. The paramedics arrived within minutes. Emma was unconscious, her head bleeding, her breathing shallow. At Providence Hospital, doctors rushed her into emergency surgery. There was swelling in her brain, internal injuries. Her parents were told to prepare for the worst, but Emma survived. When she woke 72 hours later, the doctors called it a miracle. Her vitals were stable. The swelling had reduced. Physically, she was healing faster than expected. But when her parents leaned over her bed, smiling through tears, Emma stared at them like strangers. "Who are you?" she asked. The neurologist explained it was temporary, post-traumatic amnesia, the brain protecting itself. It would pass. Memories would return, but they didn't. Days went by, and Emma couldn't remember her own name, her home, her life. She sat in her hospital bed, silent and distant, her eyes focused on something far beyond the walls. Then, on the 4th night, she spoke. "I need to go back to Ridgewood," she said. Her mother frowned. "Ridgewood? Honey, we don't know anyone in Ridgewood." Emma's gaze sharpened. "The house on Maple Street, number 47. That's where I buried the box." Her father exchanged a glance with the nurse. "What box, sweetheart?" "The metal box," Emma said, her voice flat, mechanical. "I put it under the oak tree in the backyard. I was wearing a blue dress. It was raining. I was scared because he was coming back." The room grew cold. "Who was coming back?" her mother whispered. Emma turned her head slowly, her eyes locking onto her mother's. "The man who killed me." The words hung in the air like a curse. Dr. Linda Vasquez, the attending psychiatrist, was called immediately. She sat across from Emma, her notepad balanced on her knee, her expression carefully neutral. She asked gentle questions. Emma answered with unnerving precision. "What's your name?" "Catherine Marie Holloway." "How old are you?" 34. "I died when I was 34. "Where did you live?" "Ridgewood, Washington, 47 Maple Street. I lived there for 6 years before he found me." Dr. Vasquez's pen paused. Ridgewood was a real town, small, rural, 3 hours north. She made a note to verify the address later. "Emma," Dr. Vasquez said softly, "do you remember your life here? Your parents? Your school?" "This isn't my life," Emma replied. "This is my second chance. But I didn't ask for it. Someone brought me back." "Who?" Emma's face went blank. "I don't know yet, but I will." That night, after the hospital settled into darkness, Dr. Vasquez sat in her office and opened her laptop. She typed the name into the search bar, Catherine Marie Holloway. The results loaded slowly, and then her breath caught. Catherine Holloway had been a real person, a graphic designer. She lived in Ridgewood, Washington, from 1985 to 1991. On October 14, 1991, she was reported missing by her landlord. Her car was found abandoned near a hiking trail. Her apartment was untouched. No signs of struggle, no body, no suspects. The case went cold. Dr. Vasquez scrolled further. There was a photograph. Catherine stared back at her from the screen. Pale skin, dark hair, sharp cheekbones. She looked nothing like Emma, but the eyes. The eyes held the same haunted intensity. Dr. Vasquez closed the laptop, her hands trembling. The next morning, Emma's parents sat in the consultation room, their faces drawn with exhaustion. Dr. Vasquez chose her words carefully. Emma is experiencing what we call confabulation, she explained, the brain filling in gaps with fabricated memories. It's not uncommon after trauma. But she knew that woman's name, Emma's father said, his voice tight. She knew the address. How could she know that? Coincidence, exposure to media. Children absorb information unconsciously. She's 7 years old, Emma's mother interrupted, her voice breaking. She's never been to Ridgewood. We've never talked about anyone named Catherine. So how does she know? Dr. Vasquez had no answer. That afternoon, against all protocol, Dr. Vasquez made a call to the Ridgewood Police Department. She spoke with Officer Raymond Cole, a veteran investigator who remembered the Holloway case. That was over 30 years ago, Officer Cole said, his voice gravelly. We searched for months, found nothing. Why are you asking? Dr. Vasquez hesitated. I have a patient, a child. She's claiming to have memories of Catherine Holloway's life. Silence on the other end. What kind of memories? Officer Cole finally asked. Specific ones. The address. Details about the house. She says she buried something in the backyard before she died. Another pause. We never searched the backyard, Officer Cole admitted. The landlord sold the property 6 months after Catherine disappeared. It's been renovated twice since then. Is it still standing? As far as I know. Dr. Vasquez swallowed. Would you be willing to check? 3 days later, Officer Cole stood in the backyard of 47 Maple Street. The house had changed hands multiple times. The current owners, a retired couple, watched nervously from the porch as Officer Cole and 2 deputies dug beneath the old oak tree. The ground was hard, compacted by decades. They dug for 20 minutes. Then the shovel hit something solid, metal. They unearthed a small lockbox, rusted and caked in dirt. Officer Cole pried it open with a crowbar. Inside was a stack of photographs, a journal, and a single piece of jewelry, a silver locket engraved with the initials CMH. Officer Cole opened the journal. The first entry was dated March 1991. If you're reading this, I'm already dead, and he's the one who killed me. Officer Raymond Cole sat in his truck outside 47 Maple Street, the lockbox resting on the passenger seat. The journal lay open in his lap, its pages yellowed and brittle. He read by the dim glow of the overhead light, his breath fogging in the cold October air. Catherine Holloway's handwriting was neat, deliberate. The entries were sparse, written over the course of 6 months, but the story they told was chilling. March 15th, 1991. He found me again. I don't know how. I changed my name. I moved across 2 states, but he always finds me. March 22nd, 1991. I saw him outside the grocery store. He didn't approach me. He just watched. He wants me to know he's there. He wants me to be afraid. April 3rd, 1991. I'm burying this box tonight. If something happens to me, someone needs to know the truth. His name is Marcus Draven. We were together for 2 years before I realized what he was, before I saw what he did to the others. May 10th, 1991. I called the police again. They said there's nothing they can do without evidence. But I know he killed those women, Sarah, Jennifer, Rebecca. They all disappeared after they left him, and now it's my turn. October 12th, 1991. This is my last entry. He was here tonight. He knocked on my door. He said we need to talk. He said it's time to end things properly. I'm leaving this box under the oak tree. If you find it, please find him. Stop him. Don't let me be another disappeared woman that no one remembers. Officer Cole closed the journal, his jaw tight. He picked up his radio. Dispatch, this is Cole. I need you to run a name through the national database. Marcus Draven, Draven. I need everything. Current address, criminal history, outstanding warrants. The response came back 12 minutes later. Marcus Draven, age 68, registered address in Tacoma, Washington. No criminal record, no warrants. Completely clean. Officer Cole stared at the radio. 32 years, and the man was still alive, still free. He started the engine and drove back to Portland. Emma was sitting cross-legged on her hospital bed when Officer Cole arrived. Dr. Vasquez stood beside her parents, arms crossed, her expression guarded. Officer Cole placed the lockbox on the table. "We found it," he said simply. Everything she said was there. Emma's mother gasped. Her father went pale. Emma looked at the box without surprise, as if she'd expected it all along. "Did you read the journal?" Officer Cole nodded slowly. "I did." "Then you know his name." "Marcus Draven." Emma's small hands clenched into fists. "He's still alive, isn't he?" "Yes. He needs to pay for what he did." Officer Cole crouched down to Emma's eye level. His voice was gentle but firm. "Emma, I need you to tell me everything you remember, every detail. Can you do that?" Emma nodded. What followed was 3 hours of testimony that no 7-year-old should be capable of giving. Emma described Catherine Holloway's life with photographic precision. The layout of her apartment, the coffee shop where she worked on weekends, the hiking trail where she walked every Sunday morning, the blue Honda Civic she drove. The way Marcus would appear unexpectedly, standing across the street, watching from his car. She described their relationship, how it started sweet, how it turned controlling, how she discovered, hidden in his garage, a collection of driver's licenses, 11 women, all resembling Catherine, all reported missing between 1978 and 1990. "I tried to leave," Emma said, her voice distant. "I packed everything in one night and drove to Seattle. But he found me 3 weeks later, so I ran again, and again, until I ended up in Ridgewood." "What happened on October 14th, Officer Cole asked, Emma's eyes unfocused as if watching a film reel play in her mind. "He came to the house at night. He knocked. I didn't answer. He broke the window. I ran out the back door. I made it to the woods, but he caught me near the river." "What did he do?" Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. "He said I belonged to him. That if he couldn't have me, no one could. He had a knife. I fought. But he was stronger." Silence filled the room. "Where did he leave your body?" Officer Cole asked carefully. "In the river. He weighted it down with rocks. He knew it would never be found." Officer Cole made notes, his hand steady despite the horror of what he was hearing. "Emma, can you describe the exact location?" "Half a mile north of the old mill bridge. There's a bend in the river where the current slows. There are 3 large boulders on the east bank. That's where he put me." Officer Cole closed his notepad. "I'll organize a search team." "You won't find anything," Emma said flatly. "It's been 32 years, but you'll find evidence. He was careless. He left traces." 4 days later, a dive team from the Washington State Patrol submerged into the Ridgewood River. The water was cold, murky, visibility less than 3 feet. They searched for 6 hours, and then they found it. Bone fragments, caught between rocks in the riverbed. A femur, part of a pelvis. A skull, fractured on the left side. The medical examiner confirmed female remains, consistent with someone who died approximately 30 years ago. DNA testing would take weeks, but the location matched Emma's description exactly. Officer Cole drove to Tacoma. Marcus Draven lived in a modest ranch house on a quiet cul-de-sac. He was retired, a former salesman, well-liked by his neighbors. Officer Cole knocked on the door. The man who answered was tall, thin, with silver hair and pale blue eyes. He smiled politely. "Can I help you, officer?" "Marcus Draven? That's me. I'm investigating the disappearance of Catherine Holloway. I'd like to ask you a few questions." Something flickered behind Marcus's eyes. "Catherine? I haven't heard that name in decades." "You knew her?" "Briefly. We dated for a while, but that was a long time ago. She disappeared in 1991. Do you remember where you were on October 14th of that year? Marcus's smile never wavered. Officer, that was 32 years ago. I couldn't possibly remember. We found her remains in the Ridgewood River. The smile faltered just for a second. That's terrible, but I don't see what that has to do with me. We also found her journal. She wrote about you, about how you stalked her, threatened her, about the other women you were involved with who disappeared. Marcus's expression hardened. I think you should leave. We'll be in touch, Mr. Draven. As Officer Cole walked back to his car, he glanced over his shoulder. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching, and for just a moment, Officer Cole saw it, the cold, predatory intelligence behind the polite facade. This man was a hunter, and he'd been hunting for 40 years. Back in Portland, Emma sat in the hospital day room drawing. Her parents watched from the doorway, their faces etched with worry. Emma drew the same image over and over, a man standing in shadow holding a knife. Dr. Vasquez approached cautiously. Emma, can I ask you something? Emma didn't look up. Yes. Do you remember anything about Emma Richardson? Your life before the accident? Emma's crayon stopped moving. No, nothing at all. It's like watching someone else's life through a window. I know those memories exist, but they're not mine. I'm Catherine. I've always been Catherine. But you're in Emma's body now. I didn't choose this, Emma said, her voice suddenly fierce. Someone put me here. Someone brought me back, and I need to know why. Who would do that? Emma finally looked up, her eyes ancient and weary in her young face. Someone who knows what Marcus did. Someone who wants justice. Or revenge, Dr. Vasquez said quietly. Emma smiled, and it was not a child's smile. Maybe both. That night, Marcus Draven sat in his living room, a glass of whiskey in his hand. The news played on the television, but he wasn't watching. He was thinking about Catherine, about how she'd looked that night by the river, terrified and defiant until the very end. He'd been careful. He'd always been careful. No one had ever connected him to the disappearances. The police had questioned him twice over the years, but there was never any evidence. He was a ghost, moving through the world, unseen. But now, a child was speaking with Catherine's voice. A child who knew things no one should know. Marcus set down his glass. If Catherine had somehow returned, he would do what he'd done 32 years ago. He would end her again. Emma's discharge from the hospital came on a grey November morning. The doctors cleared her physically, though the psychological evaluations remained incomplete. Dr. Vasquez recommended intensive therapy. Emma's parents signed every form, asked every question, but the truth was inescapable. Their daughter was gone, replaced by something else. The drive home was silent. Emma sat in the back seat, staring out the window at the passing trees. Her mother glanced back repeatedly, searching for any flicker of recognition. Her father gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. When they arrived at the house, Biscuit bounded down the driveway, tail wagging furiously. Emma watched the golden retriever approach, tilted her head, and said nothing. The dog sniffed her cautiously, whined and backed away. He doesn't recognize me, Emma said flatly. Animals know. Her mother's breath hitched. Her father pretended not to hear. Inside, the house felt foreign. Emma walked through the rooms like a stranger touring a museum. She paused at family photographs on the mantel. Emma blowing out birthday candles. Emma at the beach. Emma grinning gap-toothed at the camera. She was happy, Emma murmured. I'm sorry I took that from her. Don't say that, her mother whispered, tears streaming down her face. You're still our daughter. You're still Emma. Emma turned, and the look in her eyes was devastatingly sad. No, I'm not, and we both know it. That night, Emma lay in bed, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. They meant nothing to her. This room, these toys, this life, all borrowed, all stolen. She closed her eyes and saw the river, felt the cold water filling her lungs, heard Marcus whispering in her ear as the knife slid between her ribs. Somewhere in Tacoma, he was still alive, still free, still hunting. Not for long. Across town, Officer Cole sat in his office, surrounded by case files. He'd pulled every missing persons report from Washington and Oregon between 1978 and 1991. 12 women, all between the ages of 25 and 38, all with dark hair and pale skin, all vanished without a trace. And every single one had been linked, however tenuously, to Marcus Draven. Sarah Kellerman, 1978, dated Marcus for 6 months before disappearing during a camping trip. Jennifer Ortiz, 1982, co-worker at a furniture store, vanished after rejecting his advances. Rebecca Tran, 1987, met Marcus at a support group, reported missing 3 weeks later. The pattern was clear, but patterns weren't evidence, and Marcus had been meticulous. No bodies, no witnesses, no forensics tying him to any crime scene. Until now, the DNA results from the river remains came back positive. Catherine Marie Halloway, cause of death, sharp force trauma to the chest and abdomen, manner of death, homicide. Officer Cole requested a warrant for Marcus Draven's arrest. It was denied. Insufficient evidence, the prosecutor said over the phone. The victim's journal is hearsay. The testimony from the child is inadmissible. She's 7 years old, claiming to be a reincarnated murder victim. No judge will allow it, and there's no physical evidence connecting Draven to the body. He confessed in her journal. She wrote speculation, not a confession. Find me something concrete, or this case is dead. Officer Cole slammed the phone down. He drove to Portland and met Emma at a coffee shop. She sat across from him, sipping hot chocolate, looking simultaneously too young and impossibly old. They won't arrest him, Officer Cole said. Emma nodded, unsurprised. Then I'll make them. What do you mean? I'll get the evidence myself. Emma, you're a child. I'm not a child, she interrupted, her voice cold. I'm a woman who was murdered, brought back into a child's body for a reason, and I think I know what that reason is. Officer Cole leaned forward. Tell me. Emma's gaze was steady, unflinching. Marcus kept trophies from every woman he killed. He has a collection hidden somewhere in his house. Jewelry, clothing, personal items. If you search his property, you'll find them. We need a warrant for that. And without evidence, then get creative, Emma said, or I will. Officer Cole studied her. This wasn't bravado. This was calculation. What are you planning? Emma smiled, and it was terrifying. I'm going to make him confess. 3 nights later, Marcus Draven received a letter. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. Him and Catherine, taken 33 years ago. On the back, written in a child's handwriting, were 5 words. I remember everything. Catherine Marcus's hands trembled. He checked the locks on his doors, closed the blinds, poured himself a drink. Another letter arrived the next day. You killed 12 women. I was the last, but I'm back now, and I'm coming for you. Marcus tore the letter into pieces. This was impossible. Catherine was dead. He'd watched her die. He'd weighted her body down himself, but the letters kept coming. October 14th, 1991, the Old Mill Bridge. The knife with the bone handle. You still have it, don't you? Sarah Kellerman. You pushed her off Eagle Point Trail. Jennifer Ortiz. You strangled her in your garage. Rebecca Tran. You drowned her in Lake Meridian. Each letter contained details no one should know. Details he'd never told anyone. Marcus stopped sleeping. He kept the lights on all night. He bought a gun. And then, on the 7th night, his doorbell rang. He approached cautiously, gun in hand, looked through the peephole. A small girl stood on his porch, 7 years old, dark hair, pale skin, Catherine's face superimposed over a child's features. Marcus opened the door a crack. What do you want? Emma smiled. I want you to remember me. I don't know you. Yes, you do. You killed me in 1991, by the river. You held me underwater until I stopped fighting. Marcus's face went white. You're insane. Am I? Emma reached into her pocket and pulled out a small evidence bag. Inside was a silver locket. CMH Catherine Marie Halloway. You took this from my body, and I know where you keep it. Marcus's grip tightened on the gun. Shoot me, Emma said calmly. It won't change anything. They're already watching. The police, the FBI. They know what you are now. There's no proof. Yes, there is. Emma gestured to the car parked across the street. Officer Cole sat in the driver's seat, camera trained on the doorway. You're being recorded right now. Everything you say, everything you do. Marcus's face twisted with rage. He stepped onto the porch, gun rising, and Officer Cole was already moving, sprinting across the lawn, weapon drawn. "Drop it! Drop the weapon!" Marcus froze. For a long moment, no one moved. Then he lowered the gun and laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You think this proves anything?" "No," Emma said quietly, "but it's a start." Marcus Draven was arrested on charges of menacing and unlawful possession of a firearm. During processing, Officer Cole obtained a search warrant for his residence. They found the trophies in the crawl space beneath the garage. A locked chest containing 34 items, jewelry, driver's licenses, photographs, and a knife with a bone handle, still stained with decades-old blood. DNA testing matched the blood to Catherine Holloway. Additional evidence linked Marcus to 6 other murders. He was charged with 12 counts of first-degree murder, and in a small Portland hospital room, Emma Richardson sat alone, staring at her reflection in a darkened window. She'd gotten justice for Catherine, but the question remained, why was she here? Who brought her back? And what did they want from her now? Marcus Draven's trial dominated the news cycle for weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. The trophies, the DNA, the journal. 12 families finally had answers. 12 graves could finally be marked. Marcus pled not guilty. His defense argued contaminated evidence, faulty DNA testing, circumstantial connections. But the jury deliberated for only 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Marcus Draven was sentenced to 12 consecutive life terms, without possibility of parole. As they led him from the courtroom, he turned and looked directly at Emma, sitting in the gallery beside Officer Cole. His lips moved, forming 3 silent words. "This isn't over." Emma felt a chill run through her body. The media called her a miracle, a gifted child, a psychic prodigy. They didn't know the truth, that Emma Richardson no longer existed, replaced by the consciousness of a murdered woman given a second chance at life. Dr. Vasquez tried to help. Therapy sessions 3 times a week, cognitive exercises, attempts to reconnect Emma with her original identity. But the girl who loved strawberry ice cream and golden retrievers was gone. In her place sat Catherine, trapped in a child's body, haunted by memories of death. Months passed. Emma enrolled in school, though she struggled to connect with other children. Their concerns, playground politics, video games, cartoon characters, felt alien. She was decades older than them in every way that mattered. Her parents tried. They read parenting books about trauma, consulted specialists, attended support groups, but the distance between them and their daughter grew wider each day. Emma spent most evenings alone in her room, researching. She'd become obsessed with reincarnation, near-death experiences, consciousness transfer. She read medical journals, spiritual texts, paranormal case studies, searching for an explanation. Who brought her back, and why? The answer came on a cold February night, 6 months after Marcus's conviction. Emma woke suddenly, her heart racing. Someone was in her room. A woman stood at the foot of her bed. She was tall, slender, wearing a dark coat. Her face was obscured by shadows, but her voice was familiar. "Hello, Catherine." Emma sat up slowly. "Who are you?" The woman stepped into the moonlight streaming through the window. Emma's breath caught. The woman looked exactly like her. Same dark hair, same pale skin, same sharp cheekbones, but older, 34 years old. The age Catherine was when she died. "I'm you," the woman said simply. "Or rather, I'm what you would have become if Marcus hadn't killed you." Emma's mind raced. This is a dream. No, this is a convergence, a moment when the barrier between what was and what could have been becomes thin enough to cross. "I don't understand." The woman sat at the edge of the bed, her expression sad. "You weren't supposed to die in 1991. Your life had purpose, meaning. You were going to do important things, help people, create beauty, make a difference. But Marcus stole that from you. He cut your thread before it was finished. So what? Someone rewound time. Not time. Fate. There are forces in this universe that maintain balance. When a life is stolen before its appointed end, sometimes, rarely, it's given another chance. You were returned, reborn, given Emma Richardson's body as a vessel. Emma's hands trembled. But Emma, the real Emma, what happened to her? The woman's eyes glistened. Her soul was ready to move forward. She'd learned what she needed to learn. She agreed to step aside so you could finish what Marcus interrupted. No, she agreed. She was 7 years old. Souls don't age the way bodies do. She understood, and she was compassionate. She gave you a gift. Emma felt tears streaming down her face. I killed a little girl. No, you gave her purpose. Her body would have died in that accident. The doctors didn't tell your parents, but the injuries were catastrophic. Emma was dying, but her soul held on long enough for you to arrive. She saved you both. Silence filled the room. Why are you here? Emma whispered. To show you the truth. You think you came back for revenge, but revenge was just the first step. You came back to live, Catherine, to reclaim the decades Marcus stole. You're 7 years old again. You have a full life ahead of you, but I'm not Emma. No, but you can become someone new, someone who carries Catherine's strength and Emma's innocence, someone who uses this second chance to help others. How? The woman stood. You already know. You've always known. Emma closed her eyes. Images flooded her mind, faces, names, stories, the other victims, Marcus's victims. Sarah Kellerman's family never got closure. Her body was never found. Jennifer Ortiz's sister spent 30 years searching for answers. Rebecca Tran's children grew up believing their mother abandoned them. And there were others. Cases Marcus was never charged with. Women who vanished in the same pattern. 12 confirmed victims. But the real number could be 20, 30, more. Emma opened her eyes. I can help them. The woman smiled. Yes, but I'm a child. No one will listen to me. You made them listen before. You'll find a way again. What if I fail? Then you fail. But at least you tried. That's all any of us can do. Try to make things better than they were. Emma looked down at her small hands. Will I ever feel like myself again? You'll feel like someone new, and maybe that's enough. The woman began to fade, dissolving into shadow and moonlight. Wait, Emma called. What's your name? If you're me but not me, who are you? The woman's voice echoed from the darkness. I'm the life you would have lived. I'm hope. I'm possibility. I'm proof that even when everything is stolen, something can be reclaimed. And then she was gone. Emma sat in her bed, heart pounding, tears drying on her cheeks. She didn't know if what she'd seen was real or a dream born from trauma and exhaustion, but it didn't matter. She had purpose now. The next morning, Emma found Officer Cole's number and called. He answered on the third ring. Emma, is everything okay? I need your help, she said. There are other families, other victims. I can find them. I can help them. Officer Cole was silent for a moment. You want to keep investigating? I want to finish what Catherine started. She tried to expose Marcus 32 years ago. She failed, but I won't. Emma, you're 7 years old. I know what I am, and I know what I can do. Will you help me or not? Another pause. Then, I'll help you. But we do this carefully, legally. No more vigilante letters or midnight confrontations. Agreed. And you have to promise me something. What? That you'll also try to be a kid sometimes. Play, make friends, live the life Emma gave you. Can you do that? Emma looked out her window at the morning sun rising over Portland. Somewhere out there were families waiting for answers. Somewhere out there were women whose stories had never been told. But somewhere out there was also a playground, a school, friends she hadn't made yet, a life she hadn't lived yet. I can try, she said. Officer Cole chuckled. That's all I ask. Over the following months, Emma and Officer Cole worked together. Emma provided details from Catherine's memories, names Marcus had mentioned, places he'd frequented, patterns in his behavior. Officer Cole cross-referenced those details with cold cases. They found 3 more victims. 3 more families finally received closure. Emma also started therapy with Dr. Vasquez, working to integrate Catherine's memories with Emma's body. It was slow, painful work, but gradually something shifted. Emma began to smile occasionally. She started drawing again, not just images of trauma, but landscapes, animals, imaginary worlds. She made a friend at school, a girl named Sophia who didn't ask about the accident or the trial, who just wanted to play soccer and share snacks. Emma's parents learned to love the daughter they had, not the daughter they'd lost. They celebrated small victories. Emma laughing at a joke, Emma asking for a specific dinner, Emma saying, "I love you" before bed. It wasn't the life any of them expected, but it was life, and that was enough. 1 year after the accident, Emma stood at Catherine Holloway's grave, a simple headstone in the Ridgewood Cemetery, finally installed after her remains were properly laid to rest. Catherine Marie Holloway, 1957, 1991, artist, survivor, free at last. Emma placed a bouquet of wildflowers at the base of the stone. "Thank you," she whispered, "for your courage, for your strength, for fighting until the very end." The wind rustled through the trees, carrying the scent of rain and earth. Emma turned and walked back to the car where Officer Cole waited. She climbed into the passenger seat, buckled her seatbelt, and looked ahead at the road stretching out before them. "Where to next?" Officer Cole asked. Emma smiled, a real, genuine smile. "Wherever we're needed." They drove away from the cemetery, away from the past, toward whatever came next, because Catherine had died. But Emma had been given life, and she intended to use every moment of it. Some stories don't end, they transform. Catherine Holloway died in 1991, but her voice returned in 2024, carried by a 7-year-old girl who refused to let evil remain hidden. Justice, it turns out, doesn't have an expiration date, and some souls are too strong to silence forever. If this story moved you, subscribe to our channel for more true mysteries that blur the line between impossible and undeniable. And remember, sometimes the dead speak not through ghosts, but through second chances. Until next time.